Not too big in my house. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Plus I gotta get a roof.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys.
Do that first.
Can somebody in the chat online let me know if they can hear me loud and clear? Or unmute yourself and let me know, please.
Can't hear you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. We are going to go ahead and go over our market update here real quick. We have kind of changed the layout of this to make it a little bit easier for everybody to see without as many slides. Switched into some bar graph stuff, so hopefully that'll help you guys analyze this stuff a little bit better and understand it a little bit better. So in Inverness, we've got April through July on the screen. This is residential. So again, April 21 million, average days on market 8 days. Wow. May 19 million, average days on market 7. June 17 million, average days on market 11. July 22 million, average days on market 14. So Inverness has seen a pretty solid, steady pace right now. There are some other areas in the county that you are going to see some drastic differences. Vacant land, again, steady climb. Everything in Inverness seems to still be rocking and rolling. Laurel City, again, the sample size here gets a lot smaller, but we have still seen kind of the same trend from 2 million in April, 4 million in May, 4 million in June, 3.5 million in July. Days on market has still stayed relatively the same. This days on market here, if you guys remember, we did have an outlier. It was a property that had been on market for, I believe it was like 100 and something days, finally sold. So that's what causes a blip like that. Hernando, 16 million in April, 18 million in May, 16 million in June, and 13 million in July. Days on market has seen a little bit of an increase month over month there. Vacant land, April 767,000, May 934,000, June 402,000, July 499. So again, we've had a little bit of a hill here. Days on market has fluctuated pretty drastically in Hernando vacant land. Lecanto and Beverly Hills, April 28 million, May 16 million, June 18 million, July 14 million. Days on market has stayed relatively the same, 7.8, 7.9, but we have seen a pretty significant tick down from April to July as far as sales volume goes, and that is residential. For vacant land, we've had a pretty steady line across, a little bit of a dip for July. Crystal River. This is going to be our drastic decrease so far. April 17 million, May 17 million, June 17 million, July 10 million. Average days on market increased by 11 days, 12 days. So again, that was our biggest change.
Why do you think Crystal River was the biggest change?
Because we're not over there enough. No, I think at the end of the day, with what has been sitting more is our higher priced homes. Again, there's still a large demand for reasonably priced homes, and right now my reasonably priced homes is 250,000 or less. I think if you group together each section of the county or each city in the county, Crystal River on average has your highest pricing. So I think that you're going to see that Crystal River is going to be affected first and then it'll swing kind of this way because they have the highest dollar amount homes, and those seem to be the ones that are now sitting longer than they have before. They're not flying off the shelves. Showings aren't happening as frequently. So that's my opinion. And we're not there. Vacant land, that has stayed relatively consistent in Crystal River. Again, we've had some outliers on the days on market, but overall, vacant land still stayed pretty consistent. And one thing, I was actually talking to a friend about this who's looking to buy vacant land but can't seem to find anything in this price range like everybody else. His opinion was home sales have kind of cooled and pricing has kind of cooled, but he thinks vacant land hasn't really had that effect. Couple of factors at play that I can tell you. There is a 5 or 6 national builders that are in the county now that are buying large pieces of land to build subdivisions and all that. So and he is looking for acreage. So there is less of that. I feel like every time a national builder comes in and buys large tracts of land, we are having less and less large tracts of land available. So again, it goes back to that supply demand concept. Everything is shifting up this way. I drove to Tampa yesterday and could not believe the amount of traffic that is in Wesley Chapel, Dade City, Wesley Chapel, and then Tampa. And again, Dade City is pretty darn close to us now. So that growth is all heading north. So again, we are going to continue to see that factor into our county more and more. So again, I know there are lots of words getting thrown out: recession, bust, market's over. Guys, we typically are, Jim, 2-3 years behind the national market from what we've seen. So if you're saying, hey, market's over and I'm gonna, quit my prospecting and hold on tight, it's the wrong mentality, guys. We still have a strong, healthy market. We want to educate you guys on what it's doing, but you guys should still be prospecting every day and getting everything you can right now because people are still moving here. Homosassa, again, you're going to see another, actually, July went up again. So Homosassa stayed pretty consistent. Crystal River was our big effect. Days on market, relatively the same. And guys, remember this is through July. August, we're going to see some more changes. Again, I expect to see some bigger changes in the Crystal River area as well. I would say Lecanto, Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is kind of the unique one because you've got things like Black Diamond with high-end homes, but you also have what I consider reasonably priced homes in Beverly Hills as well. So that one's going to be kind of a balancing act. Homosassa vacant land, again, these last couple of months have stayed consistent in the 800,000. Days on market, again, we had some outliers here, so it went back to our more typical day on market situation. Citrus Springs, April 21 million, May 21 million, June 25 million, July 14 million. Again, I can only speculate here, but I think, you've got more inventory in Citrus Springs than we have had in quite some time. And so again, that's going to affect the supply demand chain. Your days on market, though, have stayed pretty consistent. Median price has dropped a little bit from June, but that's ultimately because you had an $11 million decrease. So at the end of the day, your numbers are going to be affected by that kind of a sales volume drop.
To April, there were like 94 transactions, and in July there were like 45.
Yeah.
Half of them.
Yeah, so if you guys look at these numbers here, you can see cash transactions in July were at 25. These here are all on a 50-point scale. So the number of transactions, and I'm going to switch over to Matrix and kind of show you a couple things on that. Number of transactions is definitely down, but it's been down all year. So don't think that it is all of a sudden. Average prices are up, number of transactions are down compared to 2021. Excuse me. Citrus Springs vacant land, Again, slight dip from June, but number-wise, pretty consistent still. Days on market, still pretty consistent. Median prices, still pretty consistent.
Wayne, why did you change the scale? It doesn't give you a relative.
Well, because it wouldn't fit on the screen. Like, so I mean, it literally would have been like this thing here. And so that's why we made it so you could tell. And that's why I'm pointing it out. It's halved the units almost consistently. Any questions on our market update? Again, I'll email this out to you guys. You know, if you think this is beneficial to you, utilize it in your sales pitch. How many of you like the new layout with bar? A lot easier to, yeah, we kind of figured it was something, instead of going through individually, this kind of gives you a little bit easier of a viewpoint. Come on. All right, couple things I want to go over real quick. Briefly talk about the office ranking report in a couple of different areas. I sent this out Monday. You might see a slight change, but ultimately we're at 147 million in sales volume, 445 listings, 298 buyer side transactions, 298 and a half. Our average sale price again has increased since last month. We're now up to 198,000. So again, please keep utilizing that. Tropic Shores, the number 2 office, is at 159.9, so 160,000. So again,
Decreased.
they've decreased. I use this every time we talk about it, but on average, Century 21 JW Morton is getting $40,000 more dollars for their listings than Tropic Shores is on average. I think that's a very strong point to make. The other thing I want to show you guys, I'm going to hop back here and we're going to go back a month, hit the same report. So we were at 125 million a month ago. Again, we are now at 147 million. So for our math number people, how big of an increase is that? 22 million. 116 million is what Tropic Shores was at. They're now at 125 million. For my numbers people, how many is that? 9 million. They're seeing a greater decrease in their sales volume than we are. It's drastic. I mean, we can keep going back month to month, and you're going to see this happen more and more. Does anyone want to give me their thought on why?
It's tougher. They want to go with quality, and quality is Century 21. It's more recognized.
Very good, Mark.
There's another reason.
What does Tropic Shores have to offer? There's one thing that they can offer that we don't.
Lower commission.
A lower commission. That's their pitch. This is all of the ways that I would defeat the lower commission pitch. On average, we get them more money. Their numbers are decreasing sales volume wise, where ours are still growing. Again, 22 million in 1 month is a very solid month in the real estate world. They're doing less than half of that. Jim, were you going to add something?
Yeah. The big difference is our marketing, our expenses. Last year we spent $500,000 marketing. I'll never forget Keller Williams saying, if you don't have to advertise, because your gross is your net. That just isn't true. We proved it by being, for the 4th straight year, the highest performing brokerage firm. It does help. It doesn't help as much when we have a market that's just running away and the average sale price is $220 a square foot and it sells in 11 days. You know, that throw it in the family album, the MLS, and it'll sell. Would you not all agree with that? But now it's starting to be, we're gonna separate the women from the girls and the men from the boys. It's gonna take some marketing effort. It's gonna take you knowing the story. It's gonna take you knowing why we are who we are. And a lot of that has to do with the team effort, the franchise at 95% market recognition. It has to do with the marketing dollars that we're spending as well as you yourselves are spending. It has to do with the open houses, the advertising that we're doing, the back page of the Chronicle. You're going to see a huge separation, and this is the best thing that's happened to us in the last 4 years as far as I'm concerned. And I'll get into that a little later, but there are reasons for us increasing and they decreasing, and it's because of their marketing programs. It's easy to fall out the front door and make a sale in a market that we've been in, but it's going to be a lot harder to be truly salespeople, marketing experts, and to keep the job going and getting the property sold. So I hope that makes some sense to you.
Guys, another number I want you guys to continue to pay attention to is this bottom line number right here. It's a pretty big number. $1.9 billion in sales volume in the county year to date. That's a lot of money. I mean, that is a lot of opportunity. You've had 4,854 listings year to date in our MLS. You've had 4,851 buyer side transactions for a total of 9,705 deals at 1.9 billion. With an average sale price of 199,000, which again, if you look, we are right there with the numbers. Pricing. Guys, right now, our CMAs are going to become more important than ever. You know, I'm always a firm believer of that, but with this market starting to do what it is, your sellers need to be educated on an accurate price point. Now, I don't want you to lose a listing unless it is astronomical and you know that it's just not worth your time, energy, and effort. But now more than ever, you need to educate your sellers on an accurate price point. There's a big difference right now, too, on what something will sell for cash versus what something will appraise for as well. And that's a conversation you also want to have with your sellers. Again, we can do a CMA and we can say, you know, we come up with $500,000 and they want to list at $600,000. Again, the conversation needs to be understand that we are cutting out a big part of our financing pool at this. Now, something you can always offer is have the seller pay for an appraisal at that point. You know, if it really comes down to it and you say, hey, why don't we get this independently appraised and see what we can do with that number, what that number comes out to. But also, sometimes, guys, it is not worth, if you've done everything you can and you've educated the seller and they're still a country mile apart on pricing, it's going to be a call that you need to make. We had an agent, Jim and I each did an independent appraisal, and we did everything we could, and I think I came up with 820 and Jim came up with 830,000. Seller wanted 1.3 million. That's a gap that is just going to be very, very difficult to overcome.
Well, here's what's happening. I had a similar situation. I came in and Karen came in at 320. I said, okay. I went to the seller. I said, look, I'll go 395. She said, no, my house is worth 520,000. I said, I can't do it, but let's get an appraisal. No, I had another agent come in and they're going to list it for me at 520,000. Well, what that agent does is 30 days later, they lower the price.
Right.
Then they lower the price.
Right.
So do we do the same thing now?
Well, I think it's got to be within reason too. And one thing I will say that I would right there talk about, if that was the customer's exact words,
Yes.
my point is it's not my job to list your house. It's my job to sell your house. Do you want to list it or do you want to sell it? Because I can put it up for $1 million if you want, David.
I said the same thing. And she said, well, no, I spoke to this other agent and they said they would sell it for my price.
Do you know who the other agent was, or did they not share?
They didn't share it, but then I saw it listed in MLS.
Yes. Well, again, how you attack that is I would ultimately want to get more information on that other agent. One, their brokerage, and then I would show them, I'd pull this one out. And even if you can't get it, pull this out anyway. Say, okay, you know this other agent, what brokerage are they with? Do they have numbers to prove that they can sell this thing for $100,000 more than our number one brokerage, our agent is telling you that it's worth? And go from there. And it's a conversation. I'm not saying that instantly you say no. Everybody's got to make that call. But I'll tell you, our case that we're talking about, we're $500,000 off, and the market that's cooling, especially with higher end homes, that's difficult. But again, we can say we can test the market, but I don't want you to be the bad guy when it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you guys go through the process before you instantly just say, yeah, I can get $500,000 for it just because Joe Schmo down the street said it was worth $500,000, because that's going to end up getting you in trouble, because you're going to be the bad guy when you call up and say, all right, time to do a price reduction. Now they're going to be upset. So lay it all out there. I mean, to me, honesty is going to be your best friend in any way, shape, or form. And have that conversation. Say, okay, will you work with me on the price then? If we start at $525, after 30 days, if I can show you that I've marketed this property, I've put it in the home front, we've done all of that, and I've gotten 0 phone calls, I'll send you the Golden Ruler report with Zillow activity. Are you willing to reduce price at that point in time?
The big turnoff for this seller was you came in so low, and they were so insulted that we came in so low because of the other agent, that it was very difficult. And I went through everything you said.
Yeah.
And I ultimately raised it as high as I thought I could possibly sell it at. And still, I couldn't convince this seller. When they have a figure in mind, it's just so difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
And you have the statistics on how many properties are in the market. Karen was telling me that it's starting to, because the people realize that this is the end of the party, people are really starting to.
Yeah, we're now at 717 active residential listings. That's more than we've had in 2 years. Do what?
Can you tell us historically how that trend is going?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear what LaWanda has to say about that too. Pricing. You're out in the field. How about you, Deanna? Maybe Ryan?
Well, I think, what was it last month? Did we have like 600?
Yeah.
650 or something? So
Something like that.
it's increased quite a bit, but I think that there's 2 things there. I think that,
Talking about pricing.
I think listings are staying on the market longer because they're not priced right. And I think that more people are looking to sell because they're afraid they'll miss it. But with me, with pricing, that throw it out there and let's see what happens is not. I've got more listings now than I've had in
That's my
a year
point.
and a half.
You're gonna see 30, 40, 50 listings. I've had agents up to 100 listings saying, should I take more? We're seeing we're going from a seller's market to a buyer's market, folks. It's no big deal. It's what's happening, and it has to happen. It has to cycle. How about you, Deanna?
I sell the brokerage and sell myself on the.
What about pricing? If somebody says, I want 30, 40% more than your appraisal, what do? You say, okay, I'll try it?
Absolutely. I tell them I'll try it, but I tell them that the market is changing. The last 6 to 8 weeks has been a huge change, I think, that I've seen. So it's like, we can try it, but you don't want to throw it out there for very long.
You know what I tell people? If you price it too high, you're gonna have to overcorrect, because people are gonna see it in the market. If it doesn't sell in 14 days,
Then it's got a negative connotation.
it has a negative connotation. People are looking at it and saying it's overpriced turkey, and it has to adjust with a swing the other way that goes beyond what you could have gotten for if you listed it right. Your entry into the marketplace at the right price is the very most important thing. Now, that's theoretical. Practically speaking, Ryan, what do you do?
I agree with LaWanda. I mean, right now, it is imperative that you list that property right where your CMA says. I mean, you may be able to go a couple thousand more, but if you're higher than that, it's not gonna sell. I had a listing agent call me from Land O'Lakes yesterday, Ryan, can you tell me why this house isn't selling? I said, yeah, you're overpriced. So.
You know, David's comment, most of us will put a listing in and say, this is what it's worth. And hopefully you're doing a decent comp CMA so that you know what the price is. You're not underpricing it, you're pricing it at market. And then when they come in with, well, my house is worth twice as much, you have to decide what that difference is going to be. We've been saying whatever the CMA is plus 10% to maybe 15% as high as you want to go. In the last 60 days, I've taken that idea off the board and said, we got to go with the pricing. The key to this thing is your presentation. Are you coming into the presentation with a pricing and a presentation that makes sense, but doesn't insult? I don't know what David did, but I can understand where if he said that you have a $300,000 house here and they're expecting 500, you have to give a person a back door to get out of so he doesn't have to stake himself out. That thing that Wayne and I, and it was Joan, was it Judy, were involved with. They wanted 1.3 million for a house that we were looking at 700,000-800,000. That spread is just too much. But if you sit down and say, you know, this is ideal. If you overprice, you're going to have to overcorrect to get interest. What we really need to do with your presentation is show people, demonstrate to people how you came up with your pricing and what we can do and how we do that $20,000 a house differential. And that's going to be key. But this age of we'll take it at any price and then we'll back it off. We've had to do that as a secondary way to get a listing. The ideal way is just to go in, give them a good presentation, and they understand and believe what you say. Not in a negative sense that we're in a recession, but we got to do this now because we may not have. By Christmas, I think we're going to see the elections. I think we're going to see a pretty big contraction in the market. But if you stop and think about it, that's the natural thing to do. When prices keep going up 20, 30% a month, there's got to be an end to that. So the resistance is not the market. Waves coming through us. The resistance is pricing. Resistance is the cost of borrowing money. If you look at a 150-point increase in interest rates, you know, that eliminates a lot of your buyers at the high end. So all of these factors play into the overall picture of what we have to do to sell property. And the way you demonstrate that to the seller is extremely important. It can't be negative, but it has to be factual. And you have to be willing to try as long as you're not wasting your time, because we're going to see a flood of properties on the market, folks. And if you want to go broke, take overpriced listings and try to sell them. They can't be sold. I'm done.
You're good. So just, you're talking about, you know, listings. Let me see who's.
Hey, Wayne.
Yes.
You know, since I had the same experience that David did, obviously. And I guess, you know, I've had some time to think about this because it wasn't just what he thought was 1.3. And then he said, and his neighbor was also going to list over $1 million. And the same agent, David Ryder from Tropic Shores, apparently he's the one who went in and said, no problem, 1.3. So I think what I'm thinking about is that seems like that might be the way of the world right now, where maybe an unscrupulous agent can take the listing, you know, promising the world. And I think we have a strong rapport, a really good rapport still with that seller. And I wonder if some of these are not going to come back to us. And I also wonder if in our marketing, we should think about the opportunity this creates for us, because other agents from other brokerages are going to blow smoke up a lot of skirts, and we are not. So I'll just put that out there.
No, absolutely. And you know, I was kind of thinking about the same concept as well. These brokerages that are going to overpromise and underdeliver, when that property doesn't sell, they're not going to go and say, hey, David or whatever his name was, let's relist this thing. That ship has sailed. He's made his mark. He's made his impression. So, you know, this may be a longer game because things are no longer taking, I mean, at 1.3 million, it's not going to be 14 days and it's off the shelf. And Judy, you learned that with Greg's house on Yacht Terrace. I mean, that was in the strength of the market and it still took 5 months.
Amen. But I will tell you this, if I may. This fellow who wants the 1.3 said, I will wait for months I do not care. I do not want my house to churn. I just want my number. So that's for some of our prospects, that is not a scary deal. They're willing to wait. So we have to market it with that or against that or whatever.
Right. Well, and the other thing, I mean, I know Lawanda, you're dealing with it too. That's going to create an unmotivated seller, right? The guy that says, well, I'm going to hold out for my number, he may have missed that window because he's probably basing his number on 6 months ago, on when things were absolutely screaming. So he may miss his window until the next cycle. And I don't know when that's going to be, you know? So again, the point that I also want to make sure you guys understand is seeing that. I'm not saying don't take the listing, but don't put all your eggs into that one basket. I know we all get excited about these $1 million listings and big commissions and all this. However, you still want to make sure at the end of the day, you get to a closing table to get a paycheck, and it may not be with a $1.3 million house that we appraised at $800,000.
Wayne, can I make another point?
Yeah.
We're getting to the pricing to the point where existing housing that's on the market is exceeding replacement cost, which by definition is the highest possible value you can get for a house. Why? Because if you had a 5-acre tract right next to this house that we're talking about, you could build a brand new home that isn't 20 years old, that isn't used, and it would be less money than what they're asking. You could replace that home that we're talking about for probably $850,000, $900,000. So why would anybody, other than the convenience of buying the home now, why would anybody pay $400,000 more, which is about 30 or 40% more than what it would cost to replace? But you have to understand what new construction and replacement cost is, and you have to understand what the current price per square foot is for existing housing.
Luana, you want to say something?
I think it's just that constant communication. I have one that was 1.2, and when we just lost, we had a lot of showings. We were under contract. He feels like we missed it during that we were under contract, and then it came back on the market. So I said, I think we should do a price reduction. And he's like, I don't think price is the problem. And I said, well, we're not getting any showings, so that's about all we can do at this point. So we reduced it by $50,000, which wasn't huge on a $1.2 million listing. But I had a showing Monday there, and he has blown my phone up since then. They decided it was too much maintenance, 25 acres and 2 houses, and they're like, well, I think it's just too much for us to do. So he tells me last night, tell him I'll sell it to him for $1 million. It gives him $150,000
Worth of maintenance.
Maintenance at $500 a month. Will buy them this many years of maintenance. I mean, he's calculated the whole thing. So all of a sudden, he didn't want to do the $50,000 reduction, where he's like, I'll do it for $1 million, and you can do all this. You know what I mean? So I think that he's starting to feel that
The market's changed.
have another $1.3 million listing, and he's just losing interest. He's about to pull the listing because he thinks it's just he's selling too low.
Right.
For what he's got in the house.
He's
to
been
rebuild.
thinking about that for the last month and a half that I know of, though. So maybe he's just throwing that out there to try to intimidate you to get something going.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
We had another agent, $1.7 million listing, started at 1.85, got down to 1.7, pulled off market, decided, again, this is going to happen because.
Some are putting it on the market because if they can make that.
Right.
Make me move number.
Right.
Do it, but if they can't, then they're not that motivated to sell.
Correct. Yep. And so if we look right now, this is through July, 755 active residential listings. The last time we had that many, you have to go back to July of 2020. So 2 years ago, we had this amount of inventory.
What's the percentage difference between last year and this year? That's what I would hit on. What is it, 572?
572 was last year, July of 2021, and 755 is this year.
What's that, what percentage?
It's almost 50, isn't it?
1.3.
572 divided by 755, 100,
500 is 250.
25%.
All right, so the 25% increase in number of houses on the market, what does that tell you? The competition's greater, the prices are coming down. There is some resistance. There's downward pressure on pricing, and of course, the inventory is going up, and the interest rates are going up. You know, maybe one more comment about what David said. You know, David, I hope you left that in a good state. You lost a listing, but what I do is when you are sitting there and you just can't take it, a price because it's overpriced, you've done a good presentation, you've been professional, always say, look, I can't take it if I don't believe in it. Try it with this agent. In your case, dude, 1.3 million, and if it doesn't sell, God bless you if it does, I was wrong. But if it doesn't sell, please consider our services, because we are trying to be professional in our pricing, and we don't want to underprice a home. We always want to get as much as we can. And if we don't believe in it, with all our marketing and sales efforts, we just can't take it in good faith, because our interests are trying to sell your home at the highest possible price. So if you leave a good taste in their mouth and you just say, we just don't believe in it, but come visit us again if it doesn't work, if we prove to be right, we would really appreciate a chance at doing this. And sometimes you'll see, you know, again, we're switching to a buyer's market, folks. It's not 14 days on the market. When Wayne's talking about an outlier of 100 days, does anybody understand why we take a 6-month listing? Does anybody remember that far back?
No.
180 days? Why do you think we take a 180-day listing? It takes that long to sell a damn thing, okay? Normally, when you say 11 days, do you realize what a phenomenal market that is? It's unheard of. The unfortunate thing is, I had a buddy from San Diego come in, and we had lunch a week ago, Dan Coda, who we did the ranches with. He said in California, they're down to 1% commissions, and realtors don't have a job anymore because the private properties were selling so fast. So this is healthy. You know, when you're picking up a $40,000, $50,000 listing for 14 days or 11 days work, you got to wonder, is that overcompensation or not? And those adjustments are taking place in other areas, New York, California, Texas, those sort of things. But what we're seeing here is realistic pricing, realistic timing. We're going to see a 6-month listing. So don't go telling people we're going to sell things in 10, 11 days anymore. Just say, let's see what the market will bring us. If we price it right and are in the market properly, and doing the marketing necessary to sell your property and give it exposure to the greatest number of people possible, then we'll maximize the return on your investment. But we will not just list your home, we'll sell your home. And those are the things you got to tell folks. And it's your presentation that's going to win the day. But we're in a buyer's market now, folks. That's what you have to understand. It's not the end of the world. It's not a tragedy. It's a natural cycle. And I can guarantee you this, we'll make more money in a buyer's market than we will a seller's market. Do you want to know why?
Why?
The why is you're not going to have to pay 10, 20% per month more. The why is we're going to get you a good deal. The last time this happened, it was a 2-for-1 sale. Our prices went down on new housing by 50%. Not new housing, but existing housing. A $200,000 house was a $100,000 house. Now, is that a hard product to sell someone coming from New York where they're paying $5,000 a month rent, or they're paying $500 a month for, a square footage? Not at all. When they see a 2-for-1 sale, what do? You ladies, when you see a sale, you go to buy something, don't you? Well, the same thing happens in the real estate market. Yeah, if you see a car, Wayne, that is 50% off of its retail value, that's
My
what I
wife
call
won't let me.
wholesale. Yesterday, I think he was in Tampa dragging something from Europe down there trying to get it registered. So you understand, everybody loves a sale, right? Nobody likes to pay more than they have to. And this is what we're getting into, a buyer's market. It's a natural thing. It's a good thing. It is not the end of the world. You folks that are starting to self-fulfill prophecy by saying doom and gloom, the world is over, you're going to lose, because you're going to believe what you're saying. And it's those people that do believe that this is an opportunity, it's not a problem, you're going to succeed. And that's what we have to do as an office. I understand Wayne told me yesterday, Tropical Shores and Keller Williams are losing more agents. Is that right, Wayne?
Keller Williams. We're talking about nationally. I don't think we have numbers on.
You're seeing people drop out because they're not spending money on marketing and they're not getting the sales. They're not actually providing services that have any value. You don't need any value in the markets we've been in. You do need value in the markets we're going into, is all I'm saying. So it's a positive thing.
just on the math, I think we're up 44% in inventory. If you run those numbers again,
Okay.
yeah, it's a lot. It's almost 50%. Up from 525 or whatever it was.
Right.
It's a lot.
32%.
I'll show you the math.
Another thing to look at, David, too, to talk about, I look at this every single day, but in the last 24 hours on residential, there has been 18 price reductions. So again, you know, what Jim was saying, the agent that lists it super high and then has to come down, typically they have to overcorrect to overcome how much time it is spent on market. So you want to educate the seller on that point as well. Say, listen, I'll test it at that 500 number as well. But one thing you've also got to realize is if people see it's been longer than 14 days or 20 days, they start to question what is wrong with it. Why hasn't it sold? So then to get it over that hump, we have to go past where we think it should sell for to make that actually happen.
Very good point.
So-
Really good point. They don't think about that. When
Right.
they're saying, I don't have to sell, I'll wait. And the answer is, you know what people think when they see something that's been on the market for 120 days?
Right. Seller may be willing to wait, but a buyer may look at it and see a completely different perspective, which is this thing should have sold 20 days ago.
Right.
Something's wrong with it. And then again, they won't even call you in. That's next. On to the next one.
Right.
Without even talking to a realtor to be able to explain the situation. So, and again, if we look, okay, let me do this real quick. Whoops.
Yeah, well, let's see, I think Luanda Loop sold like a year ago or something. I'd never seen it.
Luanda Loop. So what I want to show, we've got a pretty significant span of price points across the board, all showing price decreases. You got from 675,000, which again was at 719, all the way down to something that was at 75,000 down to 60,000. So you're seeing price decreases across the board. And again, that's 24 hours. You can span this out and say, I want to see what happened in a week. 85 price decreases in the last week. I will tell you, 6 months ago, what these sellers are holding on to, we had half of that in price decreases maybe.
That's about 12% of total inventory.
Right. Yeah.
One other thing, we look at the economics of holding a house. Does anybody have any idea what insurance costs, what taxes are, what a mortgage is on a $250,000, $300,000 house, which is an average price house? I would bet you it's $1,500 a month. Would that be accurate?
What was the question?
We take a $250,000 house. Does anybody have any information on what insurance would be, taxes?
I've got one right now, they're paying about 1,800 a month with mortgage,
Insurance and taxes.
$1,800 a month, 6 months. $10,000 goes never to be recovered. Now, granted, you're living there, but if you spend $10,000 carrying a house and it doesn't sell in 6 months, now talk about a year, it's $20,000. That's $20,000 lost forever. Is that not correct? So if you price it right, you're not going to have to incur that $20,000 loss.
That would be an awesome marketing piece, you know, to
We
be able to.
haven't talked about carrying costs in a long time.
You have to learn how to talk about these
We
things.
used to talk about it.
We used to always talk
Now we
about it.
don't talk about
If you don't price your home right, it's going to have to overcorrect in order to sell it, number one. Number two, the holding costs or the carrying costs are going to be at least $20,000 a year on an average home. If you're talking about $1 million home, you're talking about a whole lot more than that. You're talking about $50,000 a year. So you can understand that the economics of not pricing the house properly, the economics of getting $20,000 a unit more on the average than anybody else in the county, the economics of selling $150 million in 6, 7 months versus if you look at the different offices, when an office sells $20 million a year and we're selling $20 million a month, does that tell you something? It should. When you talk about the franchises, if you look at the franchises, and this is to everyone's credit, other than Tropical Shores, and to their credit, they're they're non-franchise, but everybody else typically in the upper categories are franchise companies. That ought to tell us something too, that market recognition. Coca-Cola, just the brand is worth billions of dollars. Why? I'm not talking about the plants. I'm not talking about the distribution. I'm not talking about the marketing penetration. It's because of the branding, folks. Century 21 has branding like that that's a 95% recognition. If you can tell people this, then they're going to say, oh, you have value. I'm going to go with you. I'll pay you a 6% commission. You don't have to buy my deal. But you have to be able to tell a story. If you can't tell a story, you're going to lose the game. I'm done again.
Another thing that we're going to start seeing, guys, and for those of you that are ready for it, these are going to start increasing. So how many of you guys are going to start prospecting? I know, Ryan, you're already doing it, but expired listings are going to be a thing again. I know it's something I haven't talked about in a long time, but it's going to be another place. For sale by owners is another one, guys. If it's taking longer for something in MLS to sell, it's going to take even longer for sale by owner. Now, Ryan sits across from me, so I'm going to use him as an example. He called somebody yesterday, 0 interest, right? Said no thanks. Ryan, you going to call them again in a week?
Absolutely.
That's the attitude you got to have. At some point, the pain of them not selling is going to overcome when Ryan calls.
As long as he's doing it in a nice way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ryan, you have a good vote.
Right,
The thing is.
Is there anything I can do to help you?
right.
I called it for sale by owner 3 months ago, met with them. I told them you're overpriced. They dropped their for sale by owner $10,000 on their own. They got it under contract, but yesterday they called me, hey, we're closing. We want to use you to buy a home. So we're showing them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, see,
Right.
you know, goodwill goes a long way. As long as you do it in a positive, professional way.
Yep.
And I will say, Brittany, for example, how long have you been licensed? She got licensed in March. She got nothing. She got discouraged. In the last 2 weeks, she's got 3 pending.
Woo! Congratulations.
Absolutely, guys. Again, there are benefits to the market changing. There are, and you can find them, but you gotta, again, what Jim said, if you keep telling yourself that it's over and done with, we're gonna see your numbers drastically decrease.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, folks. I promise you. That's one of the advantages we have as a group. We are successful. We encourage each other. We don't quit. How many times do you have to ask for the sale before you actually get it? Anybody knows?
21.
21 times. No, you can't quit after 1 or 2. Oh, I called them. That phone is 500 pounds for some folks. It's nothing. It's 2 ounces for other folks that are calling. There's only 2 things you have to do to be successful in real estate. Maybe I should make it 3 now. What is it?
Prospect and present.
And you have to present well. You know, now you can't just, being there is 90% of it, but having a good story to tell that is knowledgeable and informative is also important. But prospect and present. The game hasn't changed. It's just the market has.
All right. That was a lot all at once, so let's talk about some listings. The good stuff. Deanna.
Okay. This is a great house. It's got new roof, new AC, new windows. I mean, move-in ready. It's immaculately clean. This is my Rainbow Springs home in Fox Trace. That I only have this listing till September 23rd. The marketing analysis, I'm pretty right on. It might be a tad high. It's just right there in that $399,000 price range. There has just been a slowdown of buyers. I've only showed it once. But anyway, it's a great house. It backs up to a DRA, so the privacy there is just absolutely gorgeous in the back.
That was a good drone shot you had.
Joe.
It's at 5501 West Hunter's Ridge Circle. Emma and Richie are a really sweet couple. The house is immaculate. Beautifully kept. There was a showing today at 10:30 to 11 from another realtor, and it's just gorgeous. You were up 2017.
Very nice.
You notice the square footage, $163?
Yeah.
Deanna was at 207. Keep your eye on the square footage cost. Obviously, there's difference in quality of homes and location of homes, but that's a good indicator.
Carrie, are you online?
Linda is. Was.
We got Terra Vista home, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,544 square foot, 310,000. And it's pretty good buy for Terra Vista home.
$200 a square foot.
Kim, are you online? Got Sugarmill Woods, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,485 square feet, 229.9. Laura? Anyone?
Hey, I'm here. I'm here.
All right.
Yeah, this house, we just had a $20,000 decrease. The people priced it high to begin with. We're down kind of where my estimate was for the CMA, but I think they're going to have to take it down a little more. They're motivated. It had a newer roof and a newer AC just a couple years ago. Concrete block house. The garage they enclosed a laundry room, so we lost a little bit of garage space. It had a 2-car, but it's not as deep as normal. But it does need some updating, but it is a good solid house, and it does have water access right around the corner. So
Very nice. Laura, our love child.
this is my interlocking listing on Lake Ida, which is supposed to be a very, popular lake, 129-acre lake. It is a 2-story with 2 separate entrances. There's no interior stairs on this. So living space is upstairs, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And then downstairs there, you've got the 1 room with a full bath and then into the 2-car garage. It's got beautiful landscaping, full in-ground pool. Actually, it has three wells, 2 working, 1 capped. It's a lovely parcel, nice dockage, ready to be sold.
333. 333.
Yes.
Lori?
That one on it. It's gone.
All right. LaWanda?
House right by the forest. It is small. And it's only got 1 bathroom, so it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. It sure is cute, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is super
I
cute.
did that. So it's my son's house. We're a little high at 225. I'm flexible. Throw me an offer. You can sell it.
Guys, the other thing, it is on 0.59 acres, most of it being fenced. So,
Next to the forest too.
And a great shed in the back.
Yeah.
You live 2 houses down, it's the best house I ever bought.
LaWanda, Rose?
Rosewood came back on the market. We were at $499, then we got over asking price, then we went back to 500, got the inspection report, they decided it was too much. We negotiated 20,000 down. She is flexible. Just had it back on the market again with a cash buyer that was quick closed, and they did not perform. They did not put their money in escrow, and they have disappeared. So we went back on the market again yesterday. She is already committed. She's moving Friday. We need to sell it desperately. It is not a perfect house. It's had a ton of work done to it, but the bathrooms need updating, and
It's $128 a square foot. That's an incredible buy.
house. It's got 2 master suites. It has a new room. It needs a buyer desperately.
Lisa, are you online? This property over on Tennyson, 2,200 square foot, almost 2,300 square feet on 1.28 acres, 350,000. This is a nice home, unfortunate circumstance that's going on, but the sellers have decided to sell. And Lisa's looking for a buyer, but I think this is a good buy. And again, Tennyson is a very desirable area. Backside of the Highlands, still close to town, but you get a good chunk of property at $153 a square foot. Lorraine. Got a Citrus Hills, Hampshire Hills, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2,300 square foot house with a private pool on 3.86 acres for $599. Luke, is Luke here? 9.8 acres in Oxford, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot, 2016 built home for $775. Lindsay? Arlene, Tom, you've shown this, right? Can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Yes. It's a frame home. It's honestly pretty nice. It has like a bunch of wood accents. They just agreed to go down on price from like 240 to 222. I had a buyer who was interested until he found out it was framed, but it has a 2011 AC, 2011 roof. Yep.
Very nice.
3-bed, 1-bath as well, so that's another.
Oh, it's 3-bed?
Or sorry, 2-bed, 1-bath.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, just the 1-bath.
Yes. Yeah. 222. That's $161 square foot, guys. Not outrageous. Another one, Citrus Springs. I've been to this house. We're at 264.9, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot. This is a nice, good starter home in Citrus Springs. Well maintained. The guy does an excellent job on his landscaping. I would hire him tomorrow to do mine. Newer floors. The rest is pretty original, but again, it's all in great shape. Ready for a new family for $264.9. Mark, do you want me to? Okay. Mark's losing his voice a little bit, so I'll do the talking for him. Very nice, Laurel Ridge, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, over 2,000 square foot for $310,000. Again, that's $148 a square foot, so very, very good price point. Does have a pool. It's in good shape. Mark, anything?
It's got some cosmetic challenges.
Cosmetic challenges.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Hey, you can make it a blank slate, and wallpaper's not the worst thing in the world to take off. So, Pam.
Oh yeah, this one went back on the market. We came to the day before closing and the buyer's money had been stolen out of his account. So we didn't close on it, so it's back on the market.
Concrete block, right?
Pardon?
Is it concrete block?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for $149.9, guys, it's
Nice
again,
little house.
in a good price point. Okay.
Oh, this one, Jennifer Court. This one started out as a single wide mobile home, and the guy is a builder, so he built kind of like a 36 by 60 home around it, unpermitted. But now he's with the change in the route of the, how they threw away the 4 different prospective routes for the Suncoast extension. That was gonna go right up by his house, so now he's thinking he's not gonna wanna sell. If he doesn't sell by the end of this month, he's gonna take it off the
What do you
market.
mean unpermitted?
He didn't get permits for anything.
Well, how can we sell it?
You have to disclose. It's not our job to get permits. We just have to disclose everything.
Come back and haunt us.
All right.
Yeah, disclosure is the big key here.
That's my Tennyson. They came back on the market too. We've had a couple different buyers, but when the first ones got to their home inspection, they realized the whole bottom part needs to be totally renovated. It's just a mess. This was a house that took JJ 3 weeks to clear out, but the upper part is an Airbnb. It's how the guy had it rented out, and that is nice. And he rented out to traveling nurses, so that was a good deal. But the bottom part just needs to be totally redone. But I mean, it's nice that the back part of the property is up against Brooks family pasture lands, so you'll never have anything in behind there.
Very nice. $275. I mean, that's $87 a square foot.
Right.
I don't know if you can find anything cheaper right now. Royal Oaks, 1,500 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 229.8. Again, if you guys are looking for something, I don't know, Judy, if you pushed Royal Oaks to your customer. Avocado Street in Crystal River, 1/2 acre, Crystal Paradise, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,842 square feet, 425. Ryan Croft,
3-bedroom, 2-bath, little over 2 acres. This has got county water, no deed restrictions, very nice home.
Lots of land.
Yeah, very private. The only thing is it's right on the road. Now he sold it.
Cal's got this. Quail Roost Drive in Inverness, 234.9, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,275 square foot home.
City water and sewer over there.
Correct, thank you. And it's got a pool. This is over on Anna Joe, 2.42 acres. This is property management's listing, but for Century 21 purposes, it's under my name. But if you guys have anybody interested, Cheryl and Tracy can be of great assistance to you. It does have an RV carport, 1,752 square feet, 375. Seller is starting to get motivated, but still a work in progress on that one. Mark Slate is the one that I'm looking for. Yep, I've got it. So this is one, maybe. It's true. Well, he's added it to me, so let me see if I can do it this way. All right, cool. Mark's got this in the works, going to be listed in August. Okay. The 15th? 19th. Okay. Over on Slate, Highlands West, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,381 square feet, 224 on 0.3 acres. It does have a detached garage. So we have this for a little bit in-house. Working on pictures. Good price point in Inverness, 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Excuse me, it's got a good curb appeal. It's a nice house, it's cosmetically not that pleasant, but you know, on the inside, shag carpet, linoleum flooring.
Hey, some people love that, so.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah.
We talked about Laurel Ridge is getting fiber optics.
Yes.
So high-speed internet for those people that are working in tech and need something. They're going to get very, very nice, good internet.
So Lawanda and I both have a listing over there that needs some help. They're two very nice homes in a really nice neighborhood. For whatever reason, it's not getting much attention.
442, was it right there? What was that one, Lawanda Camino? So, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
It's a nice house, big house, 2007 year built, it's all pretty much original, but, bottom and ceiling, really high ceiling, living room, dining room, huge family room, nice kitchen, nice laundry room. It's a nice house, it's got a huge lanai on the back, no pool, but a huge lanai, 3-car garage. We were at 425, we dropped it to 416. I've had like 3 showings. It's in that price. I think I'm gonna have to go to 399 if I can get them to do it, but it really should be worth what it's at. But it obviously is not.
Slow down the price.
Deanna thinks we should wait till like September and then try to do a price.
Well, kids are just getting back to school, people are coming home from vacations. This can be still a seasonal situation.
Well, and, you know,
First week of September, we see if it's like a wind chill.
for the fans of Game of Thrones in the room, winter is coming. So remember.
This is a, snowbird house, 2,700 square feet.
But you will see again, when the snow hits the ground, people tend to miss sunshine in Florida. So just, and people start talking about it more and more. So be aware that that's something else that Florida has that's very unique to our state that we deal with regularly. Just out of curiosity, how many people are snowbirds in this room or were at one point? 1, 2. Yeah. So again, 2 in the room. So again, there are more and more people that come to the state, and I don't think that's stopping anytime soon, guys. Florida will still be a very desirable place to land. And again, Citrus County. And anytime you guys ask, like, where did you find Citrus County when you talk to buyers? I always like that question. Most of them are just like, we drove through it and loved it, right? Like it's I mean, Judy, you had family here growing up, but you know, you came by and just fell in love with it. So tell that story, share that story. If you're trying to convince someone why they should make it to Citrus County, Florida.
When we do look at my listing on Brenda,
Yes.
he is pulling it off market. It's in Citrus Springs. It is a good size house. It's got a, it needs updating, but, it has a huge room in the back that is all enclosed. The yard isn't anything special. There's nothing really special about the house, to be honest, but it's a good size house. And I feel like for the price, we should be getting, and he was flexible. We were under contract, buyers, and they flaked out. I don't know, I've had more flaky people lately than I've had in my real estate career. But it is, what, $126 a square foot?
Yeah.
So if we don't sell it, probably in the next couple weeks, he's pulling it. Except y'all got anybody? Do not appreciate anybody showing it that has anybody in.
Why is he pulling it? It's perfect price.
Because he hadn't sold it and now he's starting to think maybe he's not going to. I think he got really discouraged when the buyers canceled the contract.
Who else has things in the works? Buyers, sellers? Ryan, what you got?
Yeah, I've got one in Denellen, Levy County, coming up next week, 4 acres, completely fenced. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, a little over 2,000 living. It's got a large screened-in lanai, detached garage with porch stables, washout areas. That's gonna be $415,000.
Who else? Anything?
Coming up
I
in
have a,
Brookville, 1,800 square feet.
Okay.
But anyway, so that lives on Friday.
And what's the price point? $254,900. Laura?
I have a mobile coming up. It's 1,056 square feet, 2020. The roof was redone. AC is upgraded. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath over off of East Cove area on Bass, and it's going to be $122,000, so $115 a square foot. It's on a 0.17 size lot.
Okay.
And then the Cop Winery and Brewery that I sent to everybody.
Judy?
I have the one out on the Inverness Highlands South where the terrazzo was done. Sweet you all. And they're getting the new appliance package day, $249,900. And it has a vacant lot adjacent to it that'll go, the buyer will have the right of first refusal, but it's going to be a nice house. The square footage in the record is lower than the actual square footage. We'll have to do something about that, but.
Well, remember, you can put owner instead of record on the listing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the ability, instead of it saying public record here,
Yeah.
put owner, and then you can write whatever the owner
You
tells
really
you.
have to get the right number though, because that's a liability right there.
Thank you. I will do that. That's a very good idea. And then I have an overpriced spread coming on in Pine Ridge. You know, if you send out a postcard saying sold. a
You
house-
sold something over $1 million. Everybody wants to sell their house for $1 million in Pine Ridge.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
that'll
Careful what you wish for, right?
Exactly.
Anybody else? Buyers, sellers?
I've got a mobile home coming up, but I don't know the details. I've got to get in there, but it does have a pool. It's gonna be 175, and I think it's an acre. It's fenced in. It's up on Western, so you go up 200, and then it's just off of there. So nice and convenient, and
Well, you
I
know
have it
that the one that I have in Crystal Oaks, I have the appointment on Wednesday to get the paper signed.
Okay.
322 with a pool.
In Crystal Oaks, and what were you thinking price wise? 320?
325.
325. Okay. Guys, last thing I want to talk about real quick before we go. We've had a string of buyers are liars. So, couple things that I want to make sure you guys are doing. What's a question that you guys should be asking pretty much the first time you talk to somebody? It doesn't have to be the first words out of your mouth, but it's a question you guys all should be asking.
Are you working with somebody?
Are you working with another agent? Let's get that out right out of the gates. First conversation or so.
You might follow that up. If you are working with someone, are you going to bring them into the transaction that we're going to be looking at?
Correct.
To clarify that.
Right. So asking a couple times in different manners. We have had situations now where they say no. Our agent goes and shows the house, and then it turns into, okay, thanks, I'm going to go have my realtor now write up the offer. So we do have a buyer's broker agreement. I'm working on a one-page condensed version of that. Still running it up the food chain and the legal chain and making sure we don't, get in trouble using it. But in the meantime, there is a buyer's broker agreement in App Files. I know it's 5 pages, but it may be worth, if you're feeling uneasy about it, asking them, or even asking the question, will you sign an agreement that makes me your realtor? Right? If you ask that question after they say no, and then they still feel inclined to say no to that answer, you may have a reason why, and that is they actually do have another realtor.
And you can limit that to the properties I show you, so that you're not trying to put them in handcuffs. You're just trying to get paid for the efforts that you're putting forth.
My personal script for that is I'm not here to waste your time. I really hope you're not here to waste my time. This agreement is to make sure that we don't waste each other's time. That's the line that I would use. And again, it's unfortunate. I wish everybody would do their job and all buyers were honest and true to their word, and all sellers were motivated and ready to sign the dotted lines in the contract when we get a great offer that we think they should sign. But that's the perfect world, and we don't live in it. So be aware, there are buyers that are playing these games, and they come up with all kinds of crazy stories. We had another one where ultimately we thought dead to rights. We had this one, we were ready to make the case, and then lo and behold, the buyer was actually working with somebody else a month before our agent. Failed on the same property. Failed to mention that to us at all. Made the agent drive over to Orlando and all this stuff. And then come to find out, and again, writing starts happening on the wall when you start asking buyers these questions after the fact, and they start backpedaling and kind of, I don't want to get into any kind of situation here and whatnot. So it's like, okay, there's more to this story than they originally let on. So if you can up front, ask the question for sure, are you working with another agent? Again, what you do from there forward is entirely up to you. I have some agents that say I'm absolutely going to put a buyer's broker agreement in front of them now because I've been burned one too many times. And I know I have other agents that want to, extend the olive branch and work the trust and see what happens. And that's fine as well. I'm not going to force anybody to throw this document in front of them and force them to sign it, but it's something that I want to make sure you guys are all aware of because it has become more and more prevalent. Unfortunately, we're selling more listings to outside offices and out of county offices than we ever have before. And with that comes the agent that wants to be paid a full commission for not doing their job and their duty. There are little ways we've talked about. Again, the uneven commission split is one. I know, David, we put on a showing fee, and I have ran this through Marcia at the board, but basically we did X% co-broke, and then we did $350 or something in that realm as a fee. In agent remarks, we wrote $350 fee will be charged if buyer's agent cannot accommodate showings, inspections, appraisals, etc. And then we wrote, if buyer's agent is there for all services, showing fee will be waived. Now it's only a one-time. I can't say $350 for each thing. It's just $350 because that's what gets advertised. But David and I did that on one of his listings. I don't know if we've gotten anywhere with that listing or not, but
We've had showings.
okay. Yeah. So, it is advertised as that. So that is something that you can do. As far as the price on it, I'm not going to tell you what exact number to do, but it is something that you can do as well.
I had one call me to see a listing that I had, and they said, we would like to see this, blah, 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 and I said, okay, we'll meet. And then they said, we have an agent we've been working with, but we're not happy with them. Okay, well, I'm not here to steal other agents' buyers, so what do you want to do? We want to see it with you, but we feel like we need to tell him. I said, okay. So anyway, they ended up saying, we've decided we're not telling him about the showing, and if we decide to make an offer on anything he has shown us, we will go with him. We don't want to work with him moving forward though, but because he's shown us property, we feel obligated to do that. I said, that's fine. So you get all kinds.
Absolutely.
You know,
And again,
he might get upset with me if I sell them, but
Right.
it is what it is.
Right.
They were up front.
Yep.
So
have a conversation. Again, my pitch to them would be, if they're going to be that open with you, be that open with that other agent too. Put it all on the table. That's my opinion. Again, honesty is best, but you don't want to obviously shun the buyer to where they say, all right, fine, well, I don't want to work with you either. So it puts you in a whole lot tougher spot than it puts them, but that's the way the world works. We're here to solve problems and get out of, unfortunate situations.
Transparency.
Yeah, transparency is always going to be your best friend. I believe in honesty, so that's my go-to. Anybody have anything else?
I have 18, almost 19 acres in Arrowhead for 58,000.
Do you have it listed?
It's in the water. It's listed. We don't know if we've ever talked about it. It might be an interesting property.
WJ is looking for land.
Well, that's why I'm telling everybody that it's an interesting piece and somebody could buy it and probably make some money.
This one?
Yeah, it's the last of the Onley Estates. You can see the wetlands there, and if you look at the shadowing on the property. But we want to sell that property, so if somebody wants to advertise it, if somebody has somebody to buy it. I also have a guy that's,
How much of it is buildable?
there's probably 6 acres that are uplands there that I can tell.
Are there more photos?
Are there what?
More photos?
There's just map overlays.
It's a nice piece of property, and we need to sell it, but you can see the floodplain there where I was figuring there's probably 5-6 acres that are, but it's in a nice area. Across the street, there's a horse farm. Nice property. I also have someone that's looking for 10 acres. I'll give you their name if anybody has 10 acres and he wanted to buy in Stagecoach. I also have someone that wants to buy a home for about 230,000. I'll give you that person's name if you want to run it. Young man out of the service.
Last thing I want to talk about, I forgot. Guys, please make sure to follow up with your title companies, communicate with them. I know a lot of times we kind of say, all right, contract has been submitted to them, and now we just sit on the back burners and hope for the best. Some of the title companies that I've loved to use in past have gotten so busy or short staffed that ultimately the ball has been dropped. And again, guys, when it comes to problems in the real estate transaction, who is typically going to get the brunt of the force? It's not the title company. I can tell you that. It's going to be you as an agent. You are there to oversee that whole process, to handhold that whole process. So just please, please, please make sure, big ones, guys, verifying that if you're on the listing side, verifying that escrow has been deposited. You have an invalidated contract if on the contract says to be made within 3 days and they don't make it within 3 days, or if it says a company's offer and it doesn't accompany the offer, that is grounds to say, hey, we're out. Now, if you keep performing, you can't go after the fact 3 weeks later say, I don't like this buyer anymore, so we're going to go back to 3 days into the contract and say we want to cancel. But you want to make sure, hey, has you title company received escrow money? Always a good thing to do, especially with these out of area. Pam, I think you had a deal where, nothing had happened until like day before closing. It was like an out of area title company.
No,
Is that you?
no, my guy had his money stolen out of his bank.
I think it was and it may not have been you, Pam, but basically a deal where it was the buyers wanted to use X title company in Dade City or wherever the heck it was, and we had never used them before, but basically 3 days before closing, we find out no escrow money has ever been deposited. Title search hasn't been done. None of this stuff has been done, right? And again, we look like the bad guy here, and we can say, well, the title company didn't do their job. Well, guys, we need to make sure that we stay on top of the title company, that they are doing their job. So you don't want to ruin a relationship because you did not follow up or you did not stay in communication with the powers that be, the title companies at hand. So please, please, please make sure you go and follow up with all of that stuff. Sometimes it's just a good reminder to the title company too. They may not admit it, but it may have been like, oops, I forgot. And thank you for telling me to do this, right? Mail away documents. I know, Mark, we had a fun one. Again, I am an open and honest person, so I hope that people treat me the same way. But if you know that the documents are going to be mailed away by either your party or the other side, ask the title company, hey, did those docs get mailed out? They have tracking numbers and all that stuff, so they can say, hey, look, it says that it's going to be there tomorrow at 4 p.m. They can see all of that information. So again, it's good to ask those questions and make sure you're keeping them in line for that closing and all of that. All right, that's my spiel. Thank you, guys.